Page 27. Exercise 3.
Ah, right. And what's Sydney like? Is it very different from Seoul?
Yeah, it is. A lot of things are different.
Like what?
Well, the language.
Yes, of course.
And the climate is more extreme here. It gets a lot hotter here in the summer and a lot colder in the winter.
Oh, really? I thought it was very hot in Sydney.
It is in the summer, but I think it gets hotter here.
And what else is different? Is Sydney a big city like Seoul?
Yeah, Sydney is the biggest city in Australia, but it's smaller than Seoul. I think there are around 5 million people in Sydney.
Wow, Sydney is smaller then, much smaller. I think there are more than 15 million people living in Seoul.
Really? That many? That's a lot of people. Seoul is definitely more crowded than Sydney. In Sydney, a lot of people live in houses, but in Seoul, most people live in apartments.
Yes, there's more space in Australia.
Yes, but Seoul has things that Sydney doesn't have. I mean, Seoul is so modern, and public transportation is really good. It might be better than in Sydney. A lot of people still use their cars in Sydney, and the traffic can get quite bad.
And what about nightlife and eating out? Is it expensive to go to a restaurant?
Well, it depends on the restaurant, I suppose. Some are cheap and some are expensive. But I think, in general, it's cheaper to eat out in Seoul.
Yes, there's a lot of choice in Seoul. Speaking of which, I'm hungry. Do you want to get something to eat?
Sure. Good idea.